Sometime in the next 30 days, a payment with your name on it will leave the United States Treasury. It will travel as a piece of electronic data through a federal payment system toward a bank account the government believes belongs to you. And here is what almost nobody watching this knows. That payment now has to pass through 3 checkpoints that did not exist a short time ago. 3 rules that were changed quietly, announced in press releases almost nobody read. If your information is current at all 3 checkpoints, your money lands like it always has. Same morning, same account. Nothing feels different. But if your information is wrong at even one of them, your payment can stop. Not reduced, not delayed by a day. Stopped. And the paper check that used to arrive in the mail as a backup, the safety net that existed for 90 years, is gone. My name is Kevin. I spent the past weeks reading the Social Security Administration's own press releases, the Treasury's electronic payment mandate, and the executive order that ended the paper check era. What I found is that Social Security changed 3 separate rules about how your money physically reaches you. The first rule changed what happens if your bank information is out of date. The second rule changed how fast your deposit account can be switched. And the third rule changed whether you can even get into your own account to fix a problem. Every one of these 3 changes was made for a good reason. I will give you the government's reasoning honestly. But every one of them also created a new way for an honest senior to lose access to their own money, without breaking a single rule, without doing anything wrong. By the end of this video, you will know all 3 changes in plain English. You will know exactly which one is most likely to catch you, and you will have a 5-step protocol that closes every gap. Let us follow the money. Checkpoint 1. But first, one piece of context that makes all 3 of these changes make sense as a single story. For decades, the payment side of Social Security barely changed. The rules about how much you receive changed constantly. Cost of living adjustments, earnings limits, tax thresholds. But the plumbing, the actual mechanics of how the dollars physically traveled from the Treasury to you, stayed almost frozen in time. Paper checks since the 1940s, direct deposit added as an option, 30-day waits for changes, a username and password from the early internet. Then, in the span of about 18 months, all of it changed at once. The paper check ended. The change speed went from a month to a day. The login system was rebuilt from the ground up. 3 renovations to the same pipeline, back to back to back. And when that much plumbing changes that fast, the people who get hurt are never the ones who broke the rules. They are the ones who never heard the rules changed. That is who this video is for. Checkpoint 1. The end of paper. For as long as most people watching this have been alive, the government paid benefits 2 ways. Direct deposit for those who wanted it, and a paper check in the mail for everyone else. The paper check was slow, but it was also a safety net. If something went wrong with a bank account, the system could always fall back to paper. Print the check, mail it to the address on file. The money found you eventually. That safety net has been removed. In March of 2025, an executive order was signed. Executive Order 14,247. It directed the Treasury to stop issuing paper checks for federal payments. The cutoff came at the end of September 2025, and the full transition to electronic-only payments is being completed this year, in 2026. The government's reason is real, and I want to be fair about it. According to the Treasury's own data, a paper check is roughly 16 times more likely to be lost, stolen, or fraudulently redirected than an electronic deposit. 16 times. Paper checks get taken from mailboxes. They get washed and altered. They get cashed by people who are not you. Electronic deposits mostly do not. So the change made sense on paper. But here is what the press release did not spell out. When the paper check disappeared as a backup, every single beneficiary in America became completely dependent on one thing: the accuracy of the bank information sitting in Social Security's files, not the account you use today, the account they have on file. Those are supposed to be the same thing. For millions of people, they quietly are not. Let me show you how that happens to someone who did everything right. Margaret is 71. She lives outside Dayton, Ohio. She taught elementary school for 34 years. Margaret set up direct deposit years ago, did it properly, filled out the form at her local bank. The deposits started arriving. And like any sensible person, she never thought about it again. Why would she? The money came every month. The system worked. Then, 2 years ago, something happened that Margaret had no control over. Her bank was bought. A regional bank, absorbed by a bigger one. She got the letters. New name on the building, new card in the mail, new account number eventually, buried in the paperwork of the merger. Her old account was closed by the bank itself, quietly, as part of the consolidation. Margaret did not close anything. She did not switch banks. She did not make a single decision. The system changed underneath her, and the routing information sitting in Social Security's file now pointed at an account that no longer existed. Think about what happens on payment day. The Treasury sends the deposit. The deposit arrives at the bank. The bank looks for the account. The account is gone. The bank rejects the deposit. The money returns to the Treasury. And under the old system, this is where the safety net caught you. A paper check would be issued to the address on file. Slow, but certain. Under the new system, the reissue process still exists, but it is not instant. The rejected payment has to bounce back, get flagged, get reprocessed. That process can add 10 to 14 days before the money actually reaches you. 2 weeks. For a retiree whose rent is due on the 3rd, whose medications get refilled on the 5th, whose margin between the deposit and the bills is measured in days, not weeks. 2 weeks is not an inconvenience. It is a crisis. Beau and Margaret would have done nothing wrong. Beau, that is the character of this first trap. It does not catch people who made a mistake. It catches people who assumed, people whose bank merged, people who switched banks and updated everything except the one federal file they forgot existed. People who set something up in 2011 and trusted it was still right in 2026. Beau and bank mergers are not rare events. Hundreds of bank mergers and acquisitions happen in America every year. Community banks absorbed by regional banks absorbed by national ones. Beau, every single one of those mergers shuffles account numbers and routing numbers for thousands of customers at a time. Most of those customers are notified in paperwork they skim and file away. Very few of them think, I should check what Social Security has on file. Because for their entire lives it never mattered. The paper check was always there as the fallback. But now it is not. Now, there is one more group I need to speak to directly here, because the end of paper checks hits them harder than anyone. Now, people who do not have a bank account at all. Now, if that is you or someone you love, you have not been forgotten by this system, but you do have to act. Now, the government's answer for people without bank accounts is called Direct Express. It is a prepaid debit card. Your benefit loads onto the card automatically every month. No checking account required, no credit check, no enrollment fee. Now, you can use it anywhere the card network is accepted. Purchases, cash from the ATM, bills. Now, enrollment is by phone or online through the government's own program. And for the small number of people who genuinely cannot use any electronic option, a hardship waiver process exists through the Treasury. It is evaluated case by case. Now, the point is this: the paper check era ended. But nobody has to fall through the gap if they choose their electronic path before the gap chooses them. So here is the first action from this video, and I want you to actually do it, not just hear it. Confirm that the bank account Social Security has on file for you is the account you actually use today. If you have changed banks in the last few years, if your bank was bought or merged, if you closed even one old account, assume the information is wrong until you have personally seen that it is right. You can check it by logging into your account at ssa.gov, and in a few minutes I will explain why logging in is itself the third trap. Before we get to checkpoint 2, if somebody you care about gets a monthly deposit and has no idea any of this changed, that is exactly who this channel exists for. Subscribe, and the next rule change reaches you before it reaches their bank account. Now checkpoint 2, because this one is the strangest of the three. It is the one where good news and bad news are the exact same news. For years, if you changed the bank account your benefits went to, the change took up to 30 days to take effect. A full month. You submitted the new account information, and then you waited. That waiting period is gone. Social Security now runs new account information through a Treasury verification system called the Account Verification Service. Here is what that system actually does. The moment new bank information is submitted, the service pings the bank directly. It confirms the account exists. It confirms the account is open. It confirms the name on the account matches. What used to be a month of manual holding is now an automated check that completes almost instantly. And a direct deposit change can now take effect in as little as 1 business day. 1 day, down from 30. Now, if you are the one making the change, that is genuinely good news. You switch banks, the money follows you almost immediately. A typo gets fixed fast, no month of limbo. For think about Margaret from earlier. Under the old rules, fixing her merged bank problem meant submitting the new account and then waiting up to 30 days while payments potentially kept bouncing. Under the new rules, One correct update and the very next payment lands properly. For the speed is real progress. I want to be honest about that. But I want you to think about this the way I had to when I read it. For if a legitimate change goes through in one day, so does an illegitimate one. For the old 30-day delay was slow, it was annoying, but it was also a window. For a month in which a change that should not have happened might get noticed, might get caught, might get stopped before a single dollar moved to the wrong place. For that window is now roughly 1 day wide, which means the question that matters is no longer, how fast can a change be reversed? It is, how does a change get made in the first place? And that brings me to the pattern you need to recognize. Because there is a category of criminal that studies these rule changes more carefully than any of us do. The government's own investigators have described how the fraud works. It follows 4 steps, every time. And once you hear them, you will recognize the pattern instantly for the rest of your life. Step 1. The caller pretends to be official. Social Security, Medicare, the fraud department. The name changes, the authority is always borrowed. Step 2. They invent a problem. Your benefit is suspended. Your account has been flagged. There is an urgent review of your file. The problem is always invisible. You cannot check it while they have you on the phone. You just have to believe them. Step 3. Pressure. A deadline. 24 hours. 48 hours. Act now or lose your check. Urgency is the tool. Because a person given time to think calls their daughter, calls the real Social Security number, thinks, and thinking kills the scam. Step 4. The ask. Your account number, your Social Security number, a verification code that was just texted to your phone. That is the moment the entire call existed for. Everything before it was theater. Let me make those 4 steps real for you. Joan is 69. She lives in Tucson. Retired from 30 years in hospital administration. Sharp. Careful. Not the person anyone would call an easy target. Her phone rings on a Tuesday morning. Caller ID says a government name. Caller ID can be faked, but Joan does not know that yet. The voice is calm and professional. It gives a name and a badge number. Step 1. Borrowed authority. The voice says there has been suspicious activity connected to her Social Security number. Her benefits are scheduled for suspension while the review completes. Step 2. The invented problem. Joan's stomach drops. That deposit is her rent, her groceries, her medication. The voice says the suspension takes effect in 48 hours, unless she verifies her information now. Step 3. The deadline. And then, gently, almost helpfully, the voice asks her to confirm the bank account her benefits go to, routing number first. Step 4. The ask. Now, here is where Joan's story goes right. Joan had one piece of knowledge, one sentence from a conversation with her son months earlier. Social Security does not call you and ask for your numbers. That sentence surfaced at the exact right moment. She told the voice she would call the agency herself. The voice suddenly got aggressive. The pressure spiked, and that pressure confirmed everything. She hung up. She called the number on her benefit letter. There was no suspension. There was no review. There was only a stranger, somewhere, moving on to the next number on his list. She called one sentence of knowledge. That was the entire defense. And under the new 1-day rule, that sentence matters more than it ever has. Because if Joan had read out her information, a fraudulent change could have cleared before her next phone call. And here is the rule that protects you. It is simple. It has not changed. It has only become more important now that change is clear in a day. Social Security does not call you to ask for your bank information. They do not text you for it. They do not email you for it. If official business is needed, it comes by mail. Or it happens because you contacted them. So the protection is one sentence. If they called you and asked for numbers, it is not them. Hang up. Then, if you are worried, call the number printed on a letter you already have. You reach out to them, never the reverse. Now, I want to pause on something. Everything I have covered so far, the account verification, the 1-day rule, the exact steps to confirm your file is right, comes down to knowing the procedure before you need it. That is the entire idea behind the quiet rules. It is a plain English guide I put together. $27 at kevinexplains.shop. And the reason I mention it here, in this exact spot, is that it contains the account protection checklist, the specific items to verify on your Social Security file, the order to verify them in, and the exact things a real government contact will and will not ever ask you for. Written down so it is sitting on your table and not just in your memory the day a call like that comes. 7-day guarantee. If it does not make you meaningfully safer, reply to the receipt email and I refund it. kevinexplains.shop. Now checkpoint 3, the one almost nobody is talking about. The identity wall. Here is a question. When did you last log into your Social Security account online? For a lot of people watching this, the honest answer is years ago. Some of you created a username and password a decade back. Some of you never created one at all. Here is what changed. Those old logins are dead. To access your account on the Social Security website today, and to change your direct deposit online, you must verify your identity through an approved system. Login.gov or ID.me. If you never made that switch, your old username simply stopped working. These systems are stricter than an old-fashioned password. They verify that you are physically you. A government ID, a phone number tied to your name, sometimes a photo match between your face and your license. Once you are through it, access is fast and genuinely more secure. The problem is the first time, the setup. And Social Security paired this with a second change. In 2025, the agency announced stronger identity proofing for direct deposit changes. If you cannot or do not use the online account, you can no longer make a direct deposit change by a simple phone call alone. You have to verify your identity, online through the approved systems, or in person, at a Social Security office. The phone call by itself, the way an entire generation handled every problem with every agency, is no longer enough for this. Again, the reason is honest. Identity theft against seniors is real and enormous. Criminals were calling Social Security pretending to be beneficiaries and redirecting other people's deposits. The wall exists to keep them out of your account. But a wall does not check who it locks out. Let me tell you about Ernest. Ernest is 76. He lives in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Retired railroad maintenance. Ernest is not a computer person. Never needed to be. His benefits arrive. His bills get paid at the kitchen table with a checkbook. 1 month, his deposit is late. Not missing. Late. A processing delay. The kind that usually resolves on its own in a day or two. But Ernest does not know that. All Ernest knows is that the money is not there. So he tries to check his account online. His old username does not work. The site tells him he needs to verify his identity through a system he has never heard of. It asks for a phone that can receive codes, photos of his license, steps he has never done before, alone, at 76, while worried about his rent. He gives up on the website. He calls the 800 number. The wait is long, and when he finally gets through, he learns that the thing he wants to check and possibly fix requires identity verification he has not completed. If the fix requires an office visit, he now needs an appointment. Appointments can be days out, sometimes longer depending on the office. So Ernest waits, worried, for days, over a deposit delay that, it turns out, resolved itself on the second morning. The money was never in danger, but Ernest could not know that, because he was standing on the wrong side of a wall he did not know existed, until the morning he needed to be inside it. Now imagine the same week for a different Ernest, one who had set up his verified login on some quiet afternoon a year earlier. Deposit is late. He logs in, sees his payment status, sees the file is fine, closes the laptop, pours his coffee. Same delay, same system, completely different week. That is the entire argument for acting now. The day you need access in a hurry is the worst possible day to discover you are locked out. That is the third trap. It does not take your money. It takes your ability to act. At the exact moment, acting matters most. And the solution costs nothing. It only requires doing it before the emergency instead of during one. Set up your verified login now, today, this week, while everything is calm and nothing is wrong. Go to ssa.gov. Create your account through login.gov or id.me. Yes, it takes some minutes. Yes, the identity steps are tedious. Do it once, calmly, and the door is open forever. And if the online process is genuinely too much, you can verify your identity in person at a Social Security office. Call 1-800-772-1213 and schedule the appointment. Either path works. The only wrong choice is waiting for the emergency. If a parent or a neighbor of yours gets their benefits and has never once logged into that account, send them this video. Because this third change is the one that catches exactly the people who will never hear about it. And if you are new here, this channel exists for one reason. The government announces these changes in press releases written for lawyers. I translate them into English for the people the changes actually affect. Subscribe if you want the next translation before it costs you something. Now, Let me hand you the complete protocol. 5 steps. This is the same list I would give my own family. Step 1. Confirm the account. Log in or get logged in and look at the bank account Social Security has on file. Compare it to the account you actually use. Routing number, account number, digit by digit, especially if you changed banks, especially if your bank merged, especially if it has been more than 2 years since you looked. And one practical rule that saves people real pain. If you are switching banks, do not close the old account the same week. Keep the old account open until you have seen at least one full payment land safely in the new one. Because if the change misses a payment cycle, the deposit goes to the old account. And if the old account is already closed, you are in the 10 to 14 day reissue delay we talked about. Old account stays open until the new one has proven itself. That single habit removes the gap entirely. Step 2. Build the login before you need it. Login.gov or ID.me. Set it up on a calm afternoon. Have your license and your phone ready. Do it once. If you have an adult child or a grandchild who is good with these things, sitting together for 20 minutes is a completely legitimate way to do this. You are not asking them to manage your money. You are asking them to help you through one setup screen once. If it goes wrong or feels impossible, book the in-person appointment instead. Either way, get on the right side of the identity wall now. Step 3. Know your payment date. Social Security pays by birth date. Born on the 1st through the 10th of the month, your payment comes on the 2nd Wednesday. Born on the 11th through the 20th, 3rd Wednesday. Born on the 21st through the end of the month, 4th Wednesday. SSI pays on the 1st of the month. And when the 1st lands on a weekend or holiday, the payment moves earlier, not later. Write your date down. Put it on the calendar on the refrigerator, because a deposit that is 1 day off schedule feels like a catastrophe, only when you do not know what the schedule is. Step 4. If a deposit is late, wait 3 business days before you panic. Most delays in the new system resolve on their own. And here is the part nobody says out loud. The moment of panic is exactly when people are most vulnerable. A person frightened about a missing deposit is a person who answers an unknown call and believes a voice that claims it can fix everything. 3 days. Calm. Then act through official channels if it still has not landed. Step 5. Only ever call the number you already have. The number on your benefit letter. The number on ssa.gov. 1-800-772-1213. Never a number a caller gives you. Never a number from a text. The direction of contact is everything. You reaching out to them is safe. Them reaching out to you, asking for numbers, is the scam. And one final habit. The cheapest protection in this entire video. If you have a spouse, an adult child, or a friend who helps with your finances, make one agreement with them. If either of you ever gets a call about Social Security, you talk to each other before anyone does anything. One conversation, before any action. That single agreement defeats the pressure tactic, because the scam only works on a person who acts alone in a hurry. Remember Joan's story. The one sentence from her son is what saved her. Not software, not a security product. A sentence, planted in advance, by someone who cared enough to say it. Will, you watching this right now can be that person for somebody. Will, tell them the 4 steps. Impersonate, invent a problem, pressure, ask. Will, tell them the one rule. The government does not call asking for numbers. Will, and make the agreement. We talk to each other first. Will, that is a full security system. It costs nothing, and it is stronger than anything you can buy. Will, let me pull the whole picture together. Will, but before I do, I owe an answer to the people watching this who are thinking, Kevin, this already happened to me. Will, maybe a deposit already went missing. Maybe you are locked out of your account right now. Maybe you already gave information to a caller and your stomach has been in a knot ever since. Will, here is the recovery path, in order. Will, if a deposit did not arrive, first, check that it is actually late against the real schedule. Second, give it the 3 business days. Third, if it still has not landed, call 1-800-772-1213 or visit your local office. If the deposit bounced off a closed account, it is not gone. It returns to the Treasury and gets reissued. Slow, but recoverable. If you are locked out of your account, the in-person path always exists. Call and book the appointment. Bring your ID. The wall has a door. It just is not a fast door, which is why we build access before the emergency. And if you already gave information to a caller, move immediately. Call Social Security on the official number and tell them the account may be compromised. Call your bank and flag the account, and report the contact to the Office of the Inspector General so the pattern gets tracked. Speed matters in that last case, because remember, change is now clear in one day, which means your response has to be faster than their next move. The full recovery sequence, with every number and every step in order, is one of the sections inside the quiet rules. $27, kevinexplains.shop. I built it because the worst time to research what to do is while it is happening to you. The people who handle these situations well are not smarter. They just had the steps written down before they needed them. 7-day refund, no questions. Now let me pull the whole picture together. Let me pull the 3 checkpoints back together one final time. So you leave this video with the full map in your head. Checkpoint 1. The paper check is gone. Executive order. September 2025 cutoff. Full electronic transition completing this year. Which means the accuracy of your file is now the only thing standing between you and a 2-week gap in your income. If your bank merged, changed, or closed anything in the last few years, assume the file is wrong until you have seen that it is right. Confirm the account. Checkpoint 2. Deposit changes now clear in 1 business day, down from 30. Convenient for you. And convenient for anyone who can talk you out of your information. The 4-step pattern. Impersonate, invent a problem, pressure, ask. Know it. Hang up on it. And remember the one rule that beats all of it. They do not call you asking for numbers. Checkpoint 3. An identity wall now stands in front of your own account. Login.gov or ID.me. It protects you if you are inside it. It locks you out if you never set it up. Get inside it now. On a calm afternoon, while nothing is wrong. Because the emergency is the one day the wall cannot be climbed quickly. 3 checkpoints. 1 hour of preparation, and your payment passes through all 3, every month, without you ever thinking about it again. The system did not change to hurt you, but the system also quietly assumes something it never assumed before. It assumes you will protect yourself. Think about what the old system assumed. It assumed people lose checks. It assumed mail gets stolen. It assumed mistakes happen. And it built a slow, paper safety net underneath everyone. The new system assumes competence. It assumes your file is current. It assumes you can get into your account. It assumes you know your payment date. It assumes you will not hand your numbers to a stranger on the phone. For the people who meet those assumptions, the new system is genuinely better, faster, safer, harder to steal from. For the people who do not, there is no net anymore. And the entire difference between those two groups is about 1 hour of preparation, 1 login setup, 1 account confirmation, 1 date written on a calendar, 1 sentence memorized about phone calls, 1 agreement with a family member. That is the whole hour. The senior who checks their account on payment day and does not see the deposit and does not panic, because they know exactly what changed, exactly how long to wait, and exactly which number to call. That is the difference between a crisis and just another quiet morning at the kitchen table. The quiet rules is $27 at kevinexplains.shop. The full account protection checklist is in there, the verification steps in order, the scam pattern printed out, the payment schedule reference. It is the version of this video you can put in a drawer and hand to someone you love who will never watch a YouTube video about any of this. 7 days. Full refund if it does not earn its place in that drawer. And if you want me to look at your specific situation personally, email me at kevinexplainsofficial@gmail.com. Small fee. Most people save 10 times what they pay. I am Kevin. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to check the quiet rules at kevinexplains.shop.